If nothing was to change in your life between now and the end of the year, how would that make you feel? Welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3, a platform where I help you get unstuck and onto your true potential through unlocking your limiting beliefs. I am a certified clarity coach, a mentor, and an online facilitator. And I'm so happy that you're here with me today as I am bringing the question to you. If nothing was to change in your life between now and the end of the year, how would that make you feel? That inside statement is already an indication of self-awareness. Are you aware of how it would make you feel? And if you're not aware, what should you be asking yourself? You should be asking yourself, where can I get help so that I can be aware? Well, self-awareness has been a subject that is being covered worldwide at this point because the pandemic has given us this opportunity of being at home and just being aware of the environment and the different things that we can unearth from within ourselves, positive and negative. So you need to be self-aware. And today it's about success. Self-awareness as a tool for success. This August, we're going to be covering a series, 5 series on self-awareness. And I do hope you will take this journey with me. As I said, I am here to help you get unstuck and onto your true potential. My name is Lucy Macridis, and I'd like to just jump in there. And welcome here, Kavi. Good to see you here. The question, as you can see today, is if nothing changes in your life between now and December, how would that make you feel? Or how are you already feeling if nothing has changed since the beginning of the year till now? How do you get in touch with those feelings? They're out there, aren't they? Well, I have a suggestion here, and this suggestion is that you need to have an internal compass, and therefore you need to meditate on self. And the best time to meditate on self is first thing in the morning, just as you're coming out of your sleep cycle and you want to get out of bed and get ready for the day. Your heart rate is quite slow at that point, and therefore you're calmer, and it's something that you can take on as a brand new day, a brand new foundation for you to start. So why don't you do this one with me and just breathe in and breathe out as we take a sample of how we can go about it. So I would require you to close your eyes and then, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and again through your nose and out through your mouth, and a third time. And as you're doing that, I want you to be aware of yourself, of your body, of the things that are going through, because that is self-awareness. You'll be aware of self. And I will give you some indications. So let's go. Yeah, close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I would love you to take a deep breath through your nose. So in through your nose, slowly, slowly, slowly. Feel that air go through your nostrils and breathe out through your mouth. And now as you take the second breath through your nose, I want you to feel how it gets into your brain. You can feel the air, the oxygen running through your nostril. Let's go. Breathe in through your nostrils. Feel that oxygen gush between your eyes into your head and fill you up. And then breathe out. Breathe out. Breathe out. Now breathe in again. And as you're breathing in, I want you to hear your heart beat. Hear it as it slows down. And you're still breathing in with your eyes closed. And then breathe out. By now, your heart rate is lower. You are in a different state. And I want you to consider what is going through your mind. What are your thoughts? Your eyes are closed. What can you see as you have your eyes closed? Just take a moment in this space and just revel in it. You are in this space of self. You are in control of this space of self. Now slowly open up your eyes. And that is just a glimpse of one of the things that you can do to be self-aware. And we'll come back to that in a moment, where we can look at the two different aspects of self-awareness. But thank you so much for taking that exercise with me. That little journey that you have taken just says that you are coachable. You are somebody who's willing to learn. And the question is still on the table. If nothing was to change in your life between now and December, how would you feel? I wonder, did that feeling come up when you started breathing in and breathing out, and that you were in that silence for those few minutes? No pressure. Even if it didn't come out for you, when you try this exercise at a different time, things are going to come out. And these things could be positive or negative. Be prepared for them, because this is your self-awareness. So we're looking at this self-awareness and success, and what is the relationship. So we're going to use today's session to be able to look at this self-awareness as a tool for success. So why is self-awareness important? From the little exercise that I've just taken you through at this moment, it allows you to have a better understanding of self. Because when you go in there and you find that stillness in you, you begin to understand how you tick. What are the thoughts that come to mind? And I'll be giving you a few tips of how to become self-aware. But right now we're looking at the importance of self-awareness. So it gives you a better understanding of self. Wouldn't you want to understand yourself better? Better to know how it is that you act and react. Because you could be a very proactive person, but you must have situations where you react. When you're proactive, it's premeditated. You have decided what you're going to go forth to do, and you execute it. And you already manage what it is that you expect to be the outcomes. But when you react, that means something has happened and you have no control over it. But when you are self-aware, you will realize that you are in reactive mode, and now you can shift gear ever so silently. If it means that you have to drop your heart rate so that you can get back and center yourself, so that you can come from that point of stillness, then that's what you're going to do. At times you can get so good at it that you don't have to center yourself. You already kick in to your default. You know what you have to do when it comes to this. Okay. I see, Kavi, you're saying that you're unable to hear me. I've just adjusted that, and I hope now I am clearer. So moving on to the next part of why is self-awareness important. The other thing is we experience self. It is so beautiful when you get to experience self, when you get introduced to yourself. Many a times people will talk about you. People will tell you who you are. And maybe you wonder, what's all this hula baloo? I'm not that person. But when you take this moment to quieten down, you will find out who you are. And in the little exercise that I give in my life coaching sessions, I allow you a moment to describe yourself using values, using core attributes. I invite you to do this. And I ask you to put down just 2 words that would express who you are or describe who you are. If nobody knew your name and they only watched you in action, what 2 things would they describe you with? 2 values, nothing physical, just the values. When they see you in action, what would they describe you as? So that is you beginning to become self-aware. Now the third thing is it empowers us to make changes. So first, we have been able to have a better understanding of self. We have experienced self, and now it empowers us to be able to make changes. Why make changes? Because like I said in the beginning, you might meet yourself and realize some negative things are coming to the fore. And this is okay. We are all made up of 2 things, light and darkness. We are made up of light and darkness. And it's not so sinister when I talk about darkness. I just talk about darkness as the areas of improvement, the areas that perhaps you don't like and you don't want to talk about. These are normal. You're a human being. You're a sum of these 2. And ignoring your darkness does not help you. You need to embrace your darkness and have it under areas of improvement, because already your light is the one that is a good thing and it is playing up your advantage. So we've looked at these three areas as to why self-awareness is important for you, and I'll read them out to you. So better understanding of self. It is you experiencing self, and it empowers you to make changes. So let's go back to the question of the day. If nothing changed in your life between now and the end of the year, how would that make you feel? Now that you understand self, now that you've been introduced to self, now that you actually are empowered to make changes. So let's shift gears a little bit and let's look at success. So how will this self-awareness of you getting to understand yourself, you getting to introduce yourself to self, and you being empowered to make changes, how will that impact your success? First question is, what is success? I mean, success is very relative. So is self-awareness important for success? That's your second question for the day. Is self-awareness important for success? As you ask yourself this question, you need to be able to define what success is for you. Not for the other person, not for what the world thinks success is, but for you as an individual. And I give you this example from the point of parenting. Now, yesterday here on IG, I was able to share just a little blog post where I talked about the aspect of success being who you are and not what you have. Not what you have materially. Not what you have that you can actually go in there and count 1, 2, 3 and give it a sum at the bottom. No. Success is based on who you are. You need to understand who you are first so that you can define what success is for you. So let's go back to parenting. Parents by default will want good things for their children. But how do they measure good things and success for their children? You know, if truth be told, they measure it from two angles. Number one, the successes that they have had in life. They would want their children to experience the same successes in the same way, because then it is tried and tested. They know the outcome. Number one. Number two, it would come from their regrets. The things that they did not achieve in life, they want their children to achieve. And you always hear these stories of parents deciding for their children what they should be and going ahead to actually bankroll it, to invest in it, to spend time with the children so they can become this person that their parents did not become. The parents are coming from a good place. However, the one thing that you're missing out as a parent is you're forgetting that this child of yours, this guardian of yours, is actually an individual, and therefore they've got their own self. And we need to be asking the question, what would you like to do? What would you like to be? What do you feel are your strengths? Give the other person a fighting chance to be who they want to be, and then lend in your expertise and your experience, maybe your personal experience or experience you've had around the world, your environment experience, whatever it is. But do not push your agenda. Allow them to blossom. Allow them to come into themselves. This is more sustainable. Yeah. So success is relative, because at this point, you are looking at success from your eyes and you want somebody to be as successful as you, according to you. You've not even asked them, do you think I'm successful? Do you think I failed? You see, these are the questions we should be asking. Asking the right questions is what matters. Assumptions are very dangerous. So growing up, we look and we learn. As children, we grow up and we look at our parents, at our guardians, at people around us of influence, and we want to be like them. When I grow up, I want to be like so and so. Why? And you start to fill in the dots. You start to say exactly why you want to be like that person. What you do not realize is, as a child, you're coming from a point of innocence. If this adult was to tell you the challenges that they had to be themselves, perhaps you would change your mind about wanting to be like them, because all you're seeing is the outside behavior. So here we step into self-awareness and success. We need to be able to play in different leagues. So as adults, we play in a big league. And in the big league, when I say I want to be like you, I'm very specific as to what I want to be. That is you. It's not everything about you. I start to pick out attributes and traits. I start to pick out material things perhaps that I want to have like yours. But I do understand and I'm cognizant of the journey that needs to be traveled to get there. The question is, how badly do I want it? And is it in alignment with who I am? Is it in alignment with who I am? So I go back to that very thing that I posted yesterday. Success is based on who you are. You might find a very successful individual and you try and copy and paste what they have done, but it doesn't work for you because it's not in alignment with who you are. So as you step out boldly to be that person, you start to see cracks. Talking about cracks, when you set out onto a journey of success, this journey is not straight path, green trees, green grass, watered lawns. No, it's got its ups and its downs. It's got its cracks. It's got its crannies. It's got its successful days. It's got its depression days. And this is something that we have to consider when we are looking at self-awareness as a tool to success. So are you aware of yourself? If you took that breathing exercise on your own, quietly every morning for 15 to 20 minutes, do you think it is going to change your life? Well, spoiler alert, change is inevitable. Whether you are moving or you're not, change is going to happen. It'll come about. The whole thing is growth. Have you chosen to grow? Have you chosen to move with this change in life? Or have you chosen to stand still? If I just look at an example of things not having changed in your life, and you take a child who is born today, and we move on to maybe 18 years from this day, and you ask the very same question, if nothing was to have changed in your life, how would you feel about it? This child has grown up and life has happened. Change has happened. The body has changed. They have grown. They are hungry, so they eat. They move. They are taken by their parents to school. They go through life. They've got peers. They are now 18 years of age. However, if they did not intentionally take this growth journey upon themselves, it's a very sad thing. And the only way they can do that is if parents are able to position them to understand self-awareness. And how do we do that as parents and adults? We have meaningful conversations with the youth and we allow them to speak up as to what they want and we guide them. So here's this child who has gone through life and really nothing has changed, but only change has happened in a very natural way, but nothing has changed when it comes to growth. In their mind, things were just happening. They are perhaps just victims of the journey. Things were just being put before them. Life just happened. Take back the control and be part of this intentional growth. Thank you so much, Kavi. You say success is a better you. Oh yes, success is a better you. You're already defining what your success is. So my question to Kavi then, what is that is a better you? Take a moment and write it down. What is a better you? If you were to go forth into the future and you meet your better self, what is it that you're going to do today to ensure that you achieve being that better self? These are the things that you ask yourself in case you do not have a definition of what better me means. One of the things that I do in my trainings is I take you through the wheel of life and I allow you to identify 8 important areas in your life, because once you identify them, then you've got something to work with. So have something to work with, Kavi. Put down what the better you stands for and begin to work for it. In fact, you have already preempted my next point. And that is, how does one become self-aware? How does one become self-aware? There's no human being who doesn't have a dream. There's no human being who doesn't have a dream. Start with your dream. And your dream are your thoughts. Those things that happen in your mind, whether it is when you're conscious or in your subconscious. Gather them, pull them down and put them on a piece of paper and look at them. Draw a mind map. I'm very visual. I like mind maps. Draw a mind map, and as you're having them on this piece of paper, take a moment and just objectively reflect on all of them and see the one that resonates with you. My daughter and I like to use the term shooting wind. Shooting wind necessarily brings to mind that it's just wind in the air that is moving. That is freedom. of expression. So let us express ourselves freely. When I'm with my daughter and we are dreaming, we are shooting wind. We're not necessarily putting any actions to these ideas or putting them down as plans. We are loving that moment of dreaming. However, you can put these dreams down on a piece of paper if you are not familiar with what it is you want to be, what it is you want to go in and do. Some people say, but I don't know my purpose, Lucy. How do I identify it? Well, there you go. Put down those ideas that you have, those dreams that you have, put them down on a piece of paper. Now, once they're there, pick 1, 2, 3. I'd suggest you pick one first so that you can gain momentum and let it snowball. So pick one, look at it, just go through it in your mind. Put down some ideas of how you can convert this from a dream into a plan, into a reality. That means you have to attach action plans, some actions. And these actions that you put in could be just 2 actions. And those 2 actions will be something that you can start doing today. I'll give you an example. If you started doing something today and for the next 21 days, you did it religiously until the 21 days, this thing becomes a habit. And on the 22nd day, if you don't do it, your mind is already prompting you that there's something missing. And you tend to feel that you're gravitating towards that one thing that is missing because you have conditioned your mind to do this thing. So let us continue having these actions that we do every day to make it our second reality. And therefore it becomes a habit. So there, you've put your dreams on paper. You've picked out one and decided you're going to make it your plan. You've attached some actions to it. Now, as you attach these actions to it, I want you now to take some minutes, and not right now. I'm talking about giving you ideas of how to be self-aware. Take a moment and just try to think every day, how do I feel about these actions as I continue to execute them? And write down these actions that are coming up to the fore. You will realize after a certain time that there's a pattern of actions. You are beginning to introduce yourself to yourself. You begin to realize how you are in certain situations because every day is not smooth. There's certain days it's lovely and sunny in your life. There's certain days it's rainy in your life. There's certain days there's storms in your life. Write down those feelings that are attached to the actions that you are executing for that plan. Write them down and be aware of the patterns because this is you. And put down those patterns into words. And these words would be the values that you're either suppressing or the values that you're expressing because this is you now. This is your self-awareness. I hope I am making some sense and that you will be able to jump there and try this out first thing in the morning tomorrow and then begin to put things into action. Knowledge is amazing, but it is really nothing if you don't execute it. So it just remains there as knowledge. Somebody else has it, but you don't. You listened to it. Someone once said it is not a spectator game when we are learning something. You have to take part. So whatever it is you're learning, it is my hope that you are taking this and you are applying it in your life to come back and be from a point of information that yes, this works, Lucy, or this doesn't work. And please engage me on my IG platform and tell me, Lucy, this worked resoundingly, or it didn't work, Lucy. I found something else that worked for me. And let's help build one another. So moving back to how does somebody become self-aware? You now have identified your patterns. And as you're identifying your patterns, you're reflecting objectively on these patterns. Why am I behaving in this way? Some of these answers may not be kind to you, but you want to get that feedback from self. Write it down. Why am I behaving this way? Maybe that's your dark side. Register it on a piece of paper because that's an area of improvement. Perhaps it's an area of improvement. You're becoming self-aware. In fact, you will reach a point where you will walk into a setting of people and they will ask you to do something and you'll say, I respectfully decline because I just do not feel comfortable about that. How did you know you don't feel comfortable about it? You are self-aware and you must have done this particular exercise for self. Now, once you get there, you will start to realize there are limiting beliefs that come to the fore. So you need to thrash out those beliefs that you have and question them. It's an exciting journey because you realize that here is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to transcend. And as you're doing that, you want to be present in the moment. You cannot afford to be distracted when you're trying to reflect, trying to identify these patterns, trying to thrash out these beliefs. You cannot be distracted. Because once you were distracted, you have now moved from that centered space that we got in when we did the breathing exercise. And now you have moved out and you're allowing the environment around you to influence your thoughts. You've got to start from that foundation. Center yourself and do this exercise. And then you have to seek feedback. When you're seeking feedback, this is again something that I do in my life coaching sessions. You have identified 2 words as you have described yourself. Now you need to go out and look for 3 different people. 3 different people who are not related. So if it is somebody who lives in the house with you, and then somebody who you work with, and maybe somebody who you meet out every day when you go out shopping or you go out on a jog, someone who's an acquaintance. You know, these are people you then go and say, can you just describe me in 2 words that are value driven? What do you think? How do you describe me? What words would you then label me with? And I say label in quotes. Would you label me with? So instantly you've got the 2 that you gave yourself and you've got the 6 that you have acquired. So now you've got 8. We're going for 10. So the last 2 will be from somebody that you look up to. And you say to them kindly, could you give me 2 words based on core values or traits that you would describe me with? And there you've got 10. That is feedback. Feedback from self and feedback from others who you deem important in your life. Now you've got them all on the table. This is a description of you. This is feedback. How do you feel about that feedback? What would you want to change about that feedback? You have got the control in your hands. You can take things under advisement. You can do that. You don't have to do anything about it. Just think, reflect objectively. Do yourself a favor and figure out who you are. So I'm encouraging you to go back onto my Instagram post of yesterday and read how success is about who you are, not about what you have. Not about what you have. So I'm hoping that these ideas of how you can be self-aware will actually come and resonate with you and help you. Let's move back then to success. So how do we make this part of success? Because when I know self first, and I know what it is that I want, and I know how badly I want it, and I actually know where the bumps are ahead, this journey of success that I alluded to before will start very smoothly. But after a while, you will start to see the cracks. You will have limiting beliefs. You'll have self-doubts. You will even have self-sabotage. You will then even have depression. And then something will shift. And it shifts because of your narrative. What have you changed in your narrative? Is it an acceptance? Perhaps. Something shifts and it begins to move in the right direction. Voila! You get your first success or first sense of success. And you begin to trudge on and move on. This is your 21-day journey. Go for it, guys. You'll be amazed the kind of person that you will meet along this journey called you. You need to give yourself that opportunity to meet you, to be introduced to you, because you will build that individual up and be the basis of success. What happens in these cases is that you will find out there are 2 areas. There's the internal self-awareness and there's the external self-awareness. Now, with the internal self-awareness, I found that I was a very hard critic. I criticized myself so much. And I asked myself why. I'll give you an example. When someone comes and congratulates me on doing something, I'm like, seriously? You're congratulating me about that? I could have done better. I didn't think I did well. I'm beating myself down. The perfect answer I would have given is, thank you so much. Exactly what did you think I did well? I'm getting feedback directly, but I never did that. I always went into that cycle of, I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. And whatever is happening is just as a flow of life, so to speak. My narrative changed. Yes, I am still hard on myself. I will still try something out enough times before I come out to the public. That is my makeup, but now I'm easier on self. And one of the things I've done is written self a forgiveness letter that I am too critical about myself, and therefore it blocks me from moving forward. It blocks me from completing some tasks. It makes me think less of self. And yet I have a power within that can impact others if I could just let go of this feeling. So this is self-awareness. I am aware of that. How did I come to it? Because I had moments of objectively looking inward, retrospect. I encourage you to do this. So that by the time you are stepping out, you are able to understand who you are. You actually learn how to regulate that person that you are. So that's self-critic. How do I use it today? I question myself about the value that I'm offering out there, and I ensure that my research is done so that I can offer integrity. It is important for me, but now I am not as tough on self as I was before. So how about you? If you think about your own internal self-awareness, what comes up for you? If nothing comes up right now, think about it for tomorrow morning when you wake up in your first 15 minutes and you breathe in and breathe out and center yourself. Center yourself and start to be acutely aware of your internal and your external environment, the environment around you. Talking about external, I promised you that there were two areas. There's the internal self-awareness and there's external self-awareness, better known as emotional intelligence. And this is where you start off with first knowing self, where you have that strength of your foundation, where you know how you can regulate how it is that you act and react. Once you have an understanding of that, you're not a perfectionist at this point, and doesn't mean all your ducks have to be in a row, you just have an awareness. You can now be able to manage that outside behavior. You will be able to manage the people around you, so to speak, the situations that are happening around you. So you're in a work environment and you're working with a team. How then do you apply this self-awareness externally? You will understand what people are going through because you've taken time to understand self. You will ask the right questions. Your expectations will be managed and you will be able to give solutions. You will be able to overcome conflict in groups. You will be able to have an easier ride when it comes to emotional intelligence. Read up on emotional intelligence and just see all the benefits. These are the things I encourage you to do, internal and external. It's very important for you. So what is the connection to success? Because my question to you today, we had two questions. The first one was, if nothing changed in your life between now and the end of the year, how would that make you feel? That's for you to answer, to reflect on. The other question that we asked is, why is self-awareness important for success? And I think I have listed it out for you. But in my parting shot, I would say that self-awareness can be used to create the life that you want. Isn't that amazing? Self-awareness can be used to create the life that you want. So what life do you want? We go back again with a cycle. It is, how do you become self-aware? You identify your purpose and you go for it. You identify this journey is full of hurdles, but it's also full of ups, 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 and more ups. And if you know self, you are able to apply it when you're acting and reacting. You're able to be kinder to yourself. And that is your internal self-awareness. You're able to show empathy and compassion to those around you. So what are your core values? We are carrying out a core values masterclass on the 17th and 18th of this month. 2 days consecutively from 6 o'clock in the evening. And if you check out here in my IG profile, in the link, you will in the bio, you will be able to find the link. Click there and register. Amazing things will be happening during those 2 days. And one of them is for you to identify, not select, but to identify your core values, which then come into this, because then you're self-aware and you are primed for success. Next week, we move on with self-awareness. And as we are moving on, we are going to be touching on areas mental wellness. I have a guest next week, so we will be on Facebook Live, and he will be taking us through mental wellness versus self-awareness. And I would love for you to join us next Tuesday at the same time, 3 p.m. for Tuesday Talks at 3. And I'd like for you, now that you know beforehand, to have a thought about what you would like to bring there on mental wellness. There's a lot on the rise about this situation right now as an outcome of this pandemic. So let's engage and let's help build one another. So until next Tuesday, be kind to yourself.